Hello and welcome back to another episode of Hippo Bites. I think I have a pretty aggressive video in store today, and that's because I will be reviewing the top 10 favorite games of the Atari 2600 from when I was a child. Now I'm thinking about doing this in a 4-part series. I'm going to have the top 10, and then I really couldn't choose my favorites, so I'm going to do the top 11 through 20 as well. So here's the top 10, here's the top 11 through 20. Then I want to do the worst games for the Atari 2600, the ones that just completely broke my heart. And then I want to do the top games I discovered as an adult. So everything I'm going to be reviewing is the games I loved as a child. And obviously I didn't play all the Atari 2600 games, and I did discover some real good gems just a few years ago. And I want to share those with you. But for now, this is all about the top 10. Right here. I'm going to start from 10 and work my way all the way to my favorite, number 1. And I want to go ahead and get this over with. Number 10 is E.T. the Extraterrestrial. You're going to be surprised. Okay, number 10. Like I said, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Now I'm probably going to spend a little bit more time on this game because it deserves it. One, I've seen all the videos that say this game is so bad, this game is awful, this is the worst game that ever existed, this game ruined the video game industry. And I don't think that's true, because honestly, I had quite a good time playing this game, and so did my friends. Yeah, we probably did read the instructions because we figured it out and we were able to play and win the game and replay and win the game, and we had a good time. We all thought this was a totally legitimate game, and that's why it belongs in my top 10. A lot of people say, you know, it seriously is like a kid gonna read these instructions and comprehend it. I was in 4th, 5th grade, dyslexic, and I did okay, so that's not an excuse. Besides the instructions, it also came with a very easy tip sheet to help you get on your way. I think the main problem people had, besides the pits, I mean, you just learn to work around the pits, was starting on level 1. If you start on level 1, the game sucks right offhand, and I will admit that, because you start walking and you're like, oh, look, I'm E.T., I'm walking around. And then some bitch out of nowhere comes and tries to take you away. She's not coming at me yet, but she will. Oh, here comes Elliot. Hi, Elliot. Oh, here comes that dude. I guess they don't get me on this screen. But you walk around. See. Oh! See, there's like the scientists and the police or whatever. But I'm just gonna show. I'm just going to show you what happens. I don't like running from these people the whole time because it kind of sucks. And then she brings you back to the lab, and I guess you have to start all over there. Here comes homeboy. I think he does the same thing. No, he took my Reese's Pieces. Anyway, this is where people missed the game. Start with game 3. Start with game 3. That's the easiest. Learn to do it on that. That gets rid of those guys. Okay. We're going on level 3. That gives us room to play around. So, let's get into it. Alright, now we have some room to play. So what we're going to do is go try to find 3 phone pieces. Collect some M&Ms on the way. If you see a question mark pop up at the top of the screen like that, do that and it'll tell you there's a hidden phone piece in here. We get that, and we're out of this pit. Tip, don't go up or down when coming out of the pit. Go left or right, otherwise you fall back in. Now notice the arrows. I think we are supposed to... Yeah. That, you can eat your Reese's Pieces for energy. And nothing there, but notice I'm starting to build my phone. So here's the question mark, but there's no visible things here. We can go up or down. Here's like the government and Elliot's house. Whoa. I can go faster. It does take energy. Again, I can, if I'm in this spot, I have 2 Reese's Pieces. I can exchange those Reese's Pieces for more energy, which is cool. Because I kind of want, oh, here's where I can call Elliot if the guys were chasing me. See, kind of cool. Oh, look, I called him. Now he's going to try to take my Reese's Pieces, but I didn't have any. Sucker. I don't, oh, remember this. That's how you call the spaceship. So we got to get all 3 pieces of the phone.
One eternity later.
Aha. Oh, fell in the wrong one. Coming out of the pits takes your energy too. That's why you got to keep collecting another piece of the phone. That's why you got to keep collecting Reese's Pieces so you can keep converting them to energy. See how when you're in the pit it keeps going out, but get that. And look, more energy. But what I'm concerned about is I can't find the question. Aha, nothing. Okay, did I search this place? Aha, that's the 3rd piece right there. And now I know exactly where to go to call the ship. So now I get all 3 pieces. Come out of the pit. Go back to that one screen where the ship is, which is this one. Let's get some extra energy. Pretty cool game, I say. Here's where the call ship zone was, right there. Timer started. I gotta find the forest screen right here and see the landing pod. That's what we gotta find. We wait here until that timing comes out, and guess what? ET phoned home and goes home. Here it comes. And bam. Guess what? We just won the game. It probably is higher in my top 10, but I wanted to get it out of the way first because I think it needed to be addressed. All right, let's go to number 9. Okay, number 9 is Kaboom. Why Kaboom? I don't know. I just really loved this game as a kid. I thought it was a very unique, playable game. Activision was my favorite development company at the time, and I thought the graphics were really cool. So the robber starts dropping, and you gotta catch the bombs in your bucket. If one drops, you lose one of the 3. And as you progress, it gets faster and faster. And I remember my uncle was able to get such a high score on this game. Oh, this Ranger controller, I don't know if it's the best for this, but you'll get the point. It's okay, it's just a little tight. I think we made up a story like if you get to 10,000, the robber comes down and shakes your hand, and we worked hard to get to 10,000, and my uncle finally did it because he was like amazing at this game. Nothing happened. You just keep going. Anyway, this is one of those fun games you just can jump into and start playing. Pretty fun, pretty quick game. I don't know why it's in my top 10. It's just very memorable to me. Number 8, SpiderMan. This game came as a little surprise to me because I got it while going to garage sales with my grandmother. My grandmother would always love to take me to garage sales when I stayed with her, so that's how I acquired a lot of my Atari games, because we'd go to them and they'd be on sale for like $1 or $2, $3, which was amazing. So I was able to pick up a lot of new games through the garage sales. One of those was SpiderMan, and I thought that was such a great find because when I got it home, I thought this is actually a pretty legit game. So let's show you what you do. Here, you're Spider-Man. And you can spin a web. Oops. You gotta attach your web to the building. If you get the window, you fall and die. I'm just doing that to show you I'm not that bad. But you can swing and pick up these guys for extra points. But if your web touches the guys, then you'll fall. So you don't want to like hit the guys, you just want to hit the building. See how I picked them up? And you keep spinning your web. You want to avoid the bombs, obviously. If you start to fall, you can get your web back. I want to go back toward the center. That seems to be pretty easiest to find. So you gotta avoid these bombs. Get to the top where you're gonna find a green goblin and a super bomb at the top. Oh, man. Good thing I can edit this for you. Now, see, what do? I'm gonna fall. Alright, there's the green goblin. Ah! Shoot. See, I gotta get that thing, and oh gosh. Okay, number 7, Miss Pac-Man. Why Miss Pac-Man? Because finally the Atari 2600 gets a decent Pac-Man port. Spoiler alert, in the worst games, you're gonna see Pac-Man in the worst games. Far worse than E.T. Anyway, I played the hell out of this because it truly is a great port for the Atari 2600. Alright, let's see what Miss Pac-Man is all about. Alright, so Miss Pac-Man has an eye, but at least she had an eye on the original game. It's still a little annoying that we're eating dashes still instead of dots. And if you want to know what I think the best Pac-Man port is, I didn't have this game as a kid, but the Aliens game is a better Pac-Man game than any Atari 2600 game, and it was just aliens, but the premise was surrounded by like eat the dots and avoid the monsters type deal. But yeah, anyway, again, I think this is a good port. Instead of like a stupid vitamin, you do have the cherry bouncing around here. Again, I don't like that we're still eating dashes and those square power pills, but again, we got the limitations. One thing I do appreciate is the ghosts are different colors. Where if you remember Pac-Man for the Atari 2600, they are all the same color. Also, when you finish a screen, guess what? Anyway, Atari 2600, great port, great Pac-Man game for this system. I'm not going to go ahead and play through the 2 screens, but if you do get through 2 screens, the maze actually does change. So that's another very cool feature of this game. And anyway, let's move on to number 6. Number 6, Warlords. Why Warlords? Because it was a phenomenal 2-player, 3-player, even 4-player game. When you had 4 friends playing Warlords, that was some of the most fun you'll ever have on the Atari 2600. Not so fun as a single-player game, so if you got this game and you played it by yourself, you're like, okay, it's like a weird breakout. But when you play with multiple people, it's really cool because you kind of learn little tricks to beat them and trick them. And that's what it was all about. Alright. Oh, that was me. Okay, I'm not liking the Ranger as much anymore. Okay, I got this. So what you can do is like trick people like, hey, I'm gonna throw the ball over here. But then you swoop down, let go, pick it back up, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna throw the ball back over here. Swoop down. So 2-player, super fun. Got that guy. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna throw it back down here. He doesn't know that, but I'm gonna go whoop. So you can either bounce the ball or catch the ball by holding the button down. You catch it, and again, I'm not really good at this with this Ranger controller, but again, you're getting the point. I could just catch that again. There we go. I beat him. So again, imagine that with 4 of your friends all competing against each other. We were, 8, 9, 10 years old when we played this. But man, if we had some beer sitting around playing this game, it would have been awesome. Number 5, MASH. This is a phenomenal game. So what you have to do is take your helicopter, rescue the men, avoid enemy fire, and once you rescue the men, you have to operate on them and take the bullets out. Super cool. It's kind of like a video game version of the game Operation. And you just keep doing this over and over again, but you'll see how cool this is in the gameplay. This deserves to be number 5, so in the top 5 of my favorite Atari games from when I was a wee lad. Oh, I'm the blue guy. Okay, now I have to run back. So obviously, trees get in the way of helicopters here. And I'm competing against this dude. See, he stole my guy. When you're full, your window closes, and that means you gotta bring them back. So soon, oh gosh, I'm gonna get shot. Soon we'll head to the operation screen. Oh, I wonder if that kills everybody. Nope. So notice I am losing severely. Okay. Now I have to take this bullet out. I used to try to get it with the tip, but now I know it just works with any part of the tool. Oh, see, I touched the side. And now I gotta go save people again. I'm gonna play a second longer just because I think you need to see that operation screen one more time. I'm winning this one. Okay. Operation time. This is the hard one. See, the thing starts getting louder. And that scares me. I don't like pressure. But let's go ahead and jump to number 4. Number 4, Pitfall II. This game's actually revolutionary for the Atari 2600. This is when I guess new generation consoles were coming out, like ColecoVision, and I don't know if the Atari 5200 was out yet. I did make a separate video of this game, which I will link right here if you want to see like the full gameplay and more commentary on it. But anyway, what's cool about this game is, one, it has background music. When you play, it actually plays background music, which was new to the Atari 2600. Also, this game's huge. Let's go ahead and see what this is all about. Much like Pitfall 1, your Pitfall Harry on top. Have some of the same enemies down there. Notice that's not a scorpion, that's a rat. You can't duck, you just gotta stand in the right spot. And I think if I run all the way to the end, I get like a treasure. But ultimately, we want to go down. Yeah, there's a gold bar. So the point of this game is, unlike Pitfall, where you just keep playing and playing until the time runs out and you go for the high score, you have certain objects you need to get to this in this game and get to the end. One is saving that lion you saw at the very beginning. That's actually the end of the game, but the game will not solve unless you get a few other things, like there's a balloon and I forget the other objects, but as you start to explore, you have to know where these objects are to acquire to complete the game in full. One good thing about this is, if you die, you just go back to a checkpoint. You have unlimited lives. You can't get past that rat if you're wondering. That would be an easy way to the lion. And if you don't have all the objects, you get to the end, he pushes you back and you have to start all over until you find all the objects. But I'm going to keep going a little bit so you can start seeing us go way down into the caverns. So now we're swimming in water, which is new. Look how good exploration game. You'll see as we get closer to number one, the games I tend to like are exploration, where you just like are able to walk around and discover things. That's the type of game I truly dig. I mean, I like some of the jump in, keep firing until you get high score, but those kind of wore off on me pretty quick, and that's why you're not seeing a whole lot. Anyway, there's so many different passages in this game. To explore them all can take quite a long time. Now, if you just keep up with the game, you can probably solve it within an hour or two. There are some times where it gets a little frustrating. Like this, I'm going to go back to my checkpoint. Which, now that I think about it, is this the game with the first checkpoint where you actually go back to a designated checkpoint that you get past? Maybe. Super game. Let's jump to number 3. I think number 3 should come as no surprise. This is probably on the top 5 of most people's favorite games, but Pitfall, the original Pitfall. Much like the Pitfall II, this was revolutionary for the time of the 2600, and I remember when this game came out, we would go to the local drugstore when I was living in Edmond, Oklahoma, and I think it was like a Revco or maybe even an Eckerd. But they had an Atari 2600 in the store because they sold the games there. Everybody sold Atari 2600 games at that time. Everybody. Grocery stores even. I played the game in Eckerd and it was so intriguing, so cool, but I couldn't buy it. And I didn't have any friends that had it yet, and we were just jonesing after this game because we all went to Eckerd to go try it out. We'd ride our bikes probably like 82 miles just to get there and try out the game, and we couldn't take it home with us, but we would just sit on the driveway and go be like, oh, I wish we had Pitfall, and that's all we can think about it. Like, consumed our mind. That's how addicting these games were at the time. So when you get a game like this, which is super revolutionary, why? Because it has so many rooms. This was one of those, besides like Adventure and Raiders of the Lost Ark, this was one of those games where you just keep going and going and exploring more rooms, and it just seems to have no end. The goal of this game is just to get to play for 20 minutes and get as high score as you can by collecting gold bars, silver bars, diamond rings, money bags, and I'll show you a little bit about that. So you notice the timer started up there. I decided to go down, jump the scorpion, come back up over here. I don't remember, but I did have it down where I was able to go down and emerge at certain spots and come in at the right spots to get the gold bars, etc. Oh god, why did I bounce off that line? I forget. Anyway, you would go through these and discover brick wall. The best way to get to the treasure quicker, and that's by all these passages at the bottom would take you to different locations rather than the linear path on the top. We'll just keep running this way until we find something. I always went backwards on this game. I never went forward, and I guess that's because you kind of run with the logs. You never had to jump over the logs. Hate the alligators. If you don't, son of a bitch. Also, when you die, you don't have to go through the obstacle again when going backwards. If you jump on the alligator's mouth while it's open, you will die unless you are on their eye, which I was. There's a money bag. I always jump at the end in case it opened up and swallowed me. Oh, let's risk it. Woo! Now, notice when you hit a log, it doesn't kill you. I love the fires. Let me warm up. I just always wanted to sit by this fire and just like chill for a little bit. Again, like Kaboom, it looks like, hey, that does kind of like look like the Kaboom flames on the, anyway, looks like real fire to me. I'm playing on the Retron 77, so it's a little more blocky than you can remember, just because I don't have the scan lines from standard TV. Simulated, you can put those in, but I prefer a solid picture, personally. There's my campfire. I think I'm playing this. Oh, there's a diamond ring. Let's end it with that. Bam! 5,000 points. Anyway, you just keep doing this till the 20 minutes is over, or you lose all 3 of your lives. Get a high score. Let's go to number 2. Number 2, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I love this game. This was certainly one of my top. This was one of my top favorites, obviously, since it's my number 2. It's a phenomenal game. It's like the first RPG almost. You go around collecting items, figuring out how to use them. And if you didn't know it, if you're frustrated by this game as a kid, it's because you use one controller to move your character, a second controller for inventory control. I'm going to go out there and say this was probably the first game where you had to manage inventory. Atari 2600, Raiders of the Lost Ark, programmed by the famous Warshaw, who also developed E.T. and Yar's Revenge. Just made another phenomenal game. Okay, number 2, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Let's get started. We'll put my inventory control there. You start out as Indiana Jones. You first grab the whip. Check these baskets. This is a marketplace. I got a grenade. That snake will get you. So you have to avoid him. I am going to move my inventory to the grenade. Put that grenade right here by the wall. Run off the screen. And you hear it go. And you'll see what happens. I like to wait for the snake to come back because wherever he is on this screen, he is on the other screen. And I guess he's gone. Nope, there he is. Now this is open. That's a timepiece. We don't need that right now. I don't even remember why I'm going this way. Probably to find something. But anyway, like an RPG, you just have tons of places to explore. I remember I do need that timepiece to find the Ark, but not yet. you know, if I buy the whistle, pay that basket, I believe, is gold. But yeah, so I gave him the basket. He gave me this whistle. If I put the whistle on, the snake doesn't hurt me. I don't remember if... let's go ahead and get the timepiece. Yeah, it works on the tsetse flies too. I'm just kind of exploring. I don't have a basket to buy the parachute. Let's see. There's a key. Oh, what was that key? And a gun. What was that key for? Forget. Well, that wasn't the way. There's a way to get to the second marketplace. And I am totally blanking on that. I did solve this game 1,000 times when I was a kid. And it was just stuff we figured out. We would collaborate with friends, and one friend would figure something out, then I'd figure something out, and together we eventually were able to solve this. We're not doing a walkthrough or gameplay, but you get the point. You get to explore a lot. The game's larger than that, obviously. I just forgot how to get to the other part. Let's go to number 1. Number 1 is Adventure. This game was everything to me. It intrigued me on so many levels. Not only was this the first game I played on the Atari 2600 that was like an exploration adventure game, it really just made your imagination run. I mean, this was kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons game where it just laid out like you come to a room and there's a maze and a dragon comes and you find a sword and there's a key. What do you do with the key? You got to find the matching castle. And also, famously, is the first game to include a hidden Easter egg. I did do a separate video on this, showing you how to find the Easter egg, which I will link here. So if you want to see the Easter egg, jump to that video. Otherwise, let's look at my number 1 favorite Atari 2600 game. 3 levels. I forget what's easiest. I think I typically start on level 2, which is a little bit hard. You still get the like dark corridors, and I'll show you. Which the point of the game is to take your man. I'm not using that controller. And this bat sucks. You take all your objects from you, but he does have the sword. So what we're gonna do is go find a dragon. See that flashing? That means there's too many objects in the room. All right, there's the bridge. There's a key. There's a dragon. He'll follow us. At least I thought so. Okay, he's dead. What I like to do is lock the bat. I like to lock the bat. I like to lock the bat in the castle so he leaves me alone. So we found the gold key. We can go back to the gold castle. Nothing in there. We'll leave that over there. I'll go back with the sword. So we're searching for objects, mainly the white key. So here's a maze, obviously, through years of playing this. Watch this. Bat's gonna come. I'm gonna get him. He got the sword. I'm gonna need that. So we don't want him to keep that, but I'm gonna try to keep him. He got away from me. Whatever. Again, I did a separate video on this. Ultimately, you will go through all the castles. You'll find the flashing chalice, Once you find that chalice, your job is to bring it home to your home castle, which is the gold castle. Take the chalice inside there and you win, while defeating dragons along the way. So that's my top 10 list for the Atari 2600 games from when I was a kid. Now, I'm not asking this to try to get engagement, but I'm super curious to know, what do you think about my top 10 and what would be your top 10? I'm super curious because I don't know how my taste goes with everybody else. I know some people just like the shooters, you know, like Chopper Command and Atlantis and Demon Attack. Great games also, but they just didn't make it into my top 10. If you care to, go ahead and subscribe and like and do all those things. If you don't want to, that's cool too. We'll catch you next time. You want to see something cool? Alexa, turn on black lights. I'm sure this doesn't come through on the video like it does in here, but Topo Chico.